Oh, there it goes. So we must be getting close. I still say 9:59. So this meeting is being recorded. Continue. Asked me if I wanted to leave the meeting since it was being recorded.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen that one.
I don't see Dory on here. Is she still on vacation or is she back yet?
Well, I think maybe the way to say it is she was back and then left again.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just taking her place.
Yeah, I think she left. She had about 2 weeks off, which because graduating and some things that were going on in NCL, and then this week I think she's just recovering, and I think they're off with just the two of them someplace.
Okay, so who do I ask?
From a vacation?
President Wright, yes, I will be taking over.
Okay, good. Okay, it's after 10 o'clock, guys. So I will call this meeting to order. Roll call, please, Amanda.
Director Brasha,
Here.
Director
Here.
Sewell,
Here.
Director Duncan,
Here.
Vice President Martin,
Here.
President Wright.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Thank you. Public input. Do we have any cards for public input or anybody on the line?
Let me check. I just saw somebody come in right now with a phone number. Hi there, 760-323-4971. Are you wishing to speak public comment?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So our item for discussion, we have one item on discussion today is our FY 2021-22 budget. So I will turn that over to the general manager.
Thanks, President Wright, and good morning. Today's an interesting day, and I want to welcome Arturo here. He's really done a good job all along, and we're ready to present to you the budget. But my introduction this year is, I think maybe I should say, unique and exciting. We're about ready to embark on two new worlds, essentially, and that's what this budget says. First is something we started over a decade ago, and constitutes the largest single project that we have embarked on in our history. The Mission Springs Water District Regional Water Reclamation Facility. This will expand our service area for wastewater and provide service to the west and include the newly annexed area for DHS, Desert Hot Springs. We are also, along with that, entering into a new world of information technology. You hear us refer to it as IT. This involves improving our service, which is the portal, what we showed you the last time, and social media. But mainly right now, where we really need to focus also is to be prepared for cyber attacks. They are ever becoming more sophisticated, and they are real. So this world is something we cannot escape, and we need to be prepared to handle the challenges that it brings. So we've never seen it before, but I'm excited about some of the improvements. And this budget, consequently, proposes to add several positions in the areas of engineering and IT. Fortunately, over the last 10 to 15 years, we have improved our financial condition, which I think you all know, to be able to fund these needed capital improvements. And you can see that financially, we're very well prepared. But we need to be able to fund these capital improvements that we've been waiting for, and then afford to operate them, which we can do. We are prepared, and will need to continue, though, however, to investigate the future and be prepared financially and otherwise. And with that, I think that tees it up for what Arturo will tell you today. Arturo, you have the floor.
Good morning. I am going to share my screen this time, and then we can go over the presentation. Can you see the screen? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. we can.
Okay, thank you, Madam President, distinguished members of the board, management, and staff present. We are going to go over the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget in this workshop. And if you have any questions at any time, please let me know that we can answer them for you. The budget process is the start of when we start the budget in the middle of March.
Okay.
All the managers review. Someone's trying to speak.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Would you mute your phone?
The managers review the budget in March, and before it is passed on to the general manager for his review and approval. That includes the capital jobs. And finally, presenting it to the board for their review, approval, and adoption in June as required by state law. The key assumptions of the 2022 budget are that there was no rate increase, several grants and loans, particularly the wastewater regional plant, the 3 new positions that Arden already talked about, and a increase in revenue of 3%, which is primarily composed of water sales and the wastewater treatment sales. And this is a big picture overview to begin with on the budget. If you have any specific questions, let me know and I can cover them. Otherwise, I'm going to jump right in to starting with the operating revenues for the district at $19.9 million. And you'll see in detail in the following slides what that is made of. In addition to operating expenses of $18.6 million, leaving the net operating income to the district of $1.4 million for 2022. In addition, there is a budget for $9.6 million in other non-operating revenue, composed primarily of grants that have been carried forward from prior year for the construction primarily of the wastewater as well. As you know, that project is still ongoing, and we only receive those grants once we have expensed the money on the project. Following on the capital budget, here you can see $89 million is what we started in 2021, added the $3 million at mid-year. In the current year, $2 million of projects are scheduled to be completed, and there's a request for $2.3 million in new capital budget, leaving a total budget of $92.9 million for 2022. On the next screen, going over the operating revenues, we see what the district is made of primarily of 3 revenue sources, which is the base service line, water consumption, and the sewer service. And they are primarily in line with prior year. That's what we're here to do for our customers, and that is where the revenue comes in from. And you see an almost 500,000 increase over last year. And here, going on to the operating expenses, the title does not show it, but the first line is 2022, and the second is 2021 budget, and the third one is the difference. The main picture that is painted with the expenses here is what Arden spoke about. Primarily, the large increases come with salaries and wages for the new employees, and the outside services, which are the ones where we hire consultants to help with the major projects we currently have going on, in addition to the utilities required to carry forward with those projects. One key item to focus on this year is this public employee retirement prior year costs. That has officially fallen off for our books in 2021, and we will not see it again going forward. The amount that gets paid yearly to PERS for the employee retirement program. That is no longer required to be paid by the district, as that has been met already in the current 2021 fiscal year.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, the district prior, when I forget what year the district decided to go on PERS. In order to get everyone caught up with PERS, there was a fund that had to be paid off to carry forward all of those employees. And that was the liability that we were paying on a yearly basis until 2021, when it's completely paid off to cover everyone 100% back when they first started working for the district. I forget when that passed, but it's been several years.
Well, it's the first time in my third budget here. This is the first time I've heard of this. It's always been presented as something that was going to be ongoing and never ending. And I don't understand how suddenly it's just going to disappear from the budget when we have obligations in every budget that have to be addressed.
Correct. That's in addition to the normal PERS expenses we have to pay. And that is already included with employee fringe benefits. That's part of this $82,000 increase over last year. That is already included in there, but that is normal for the employee's salary. Every single time someone gets a paycheck, we also have to pay PERS on their behalf for those costs.
And are those payments going to be equal to 100% of the liability, and if not, where will that show up?
That is at the current moment, we are paying 100%. We are not keeping anything with the district. Once we go at the end of the year and we see the actuarial report from PERS, is that we determine what the outstanding unfunded liability is for the district. And as you know, with investments, all those numbers change from year to year, practically daily. And so they have recommended that we do not pay that liability at this point and only continue to pay the regular amounts that are already included in this number up here.
Well, that's very comforting. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
Just for reference, we started that probably about 3 or 4 years before Arden started, at least, is when we switched over. It was during Joe Bocanegra's administration.
Yes, it was prior to when I got here.
It was, and it's been on the budget every year since. So,
But we always did know that it would sunset in 2020.
yes, we
Right.
did.
And this negative in the 453,000 is a good thing, because those expenses are now going to offset some of the other ones that we have in the current year, which is a really good thing for the district. The largest project we have on the timeline is the wastewater regional plant. And that is why, again, some of these expenses went up, including utilities that are required for them. And if there's any other specific questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, I can move on to the next slide.
I notice here the director's fees. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, that is the fees paid to the 3 directors here, including yourself, President Wright, and the rest of the board.
Well, I don't know how's that divvied up, because I see about $30 a week. I don't know how, if everybody's getting $30 a week like I am, how does it amount to $60,000?
That is, once again, the budget. And it is.
Could you break that out for me and explain who gets what of the 5 of the 5 directors? Because it would take an awfully large. There's a big disparity between.
Director Gracia, it's $100 per meeting, not 30 for the rest of us.
I've been seeing the deposits at about equal to about $130 a month. So if it's $100 a meeting, and I appreciate that you take out the tax, but that doesn't equal $60,000 if it's times 5. So how does that number become 60,000 suddenly? It's almost as if other directors are getting other amounts of money. There's an inequity here that would never fly in any kind of accounting. So let's get to the bottom of it right now. And if you don't want to, set a date when we can get to the bottom of it. Because I brought it up before. Go ahead.
That also covers health insurance.
It does.
Oh, that's in another, there's no way that.
Steve.
Not for the
It's called
directors.
the maximum amount that would happen if we all did 10 meetings a month for 12 months. $60,000. There you go. But we never use that much.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
Just the
because,
budgeted
that's
amount.
because only a few directors are granted privileges of attending 10 meetings a month. And that's
Well,
where the
that's-
inequity is. So just,
Well, that's not- that's not fair.
I just want to be clear about that particular point. And I'd also like to know, address the elephant in the room. And how is it that we cannot have us explain to the directors, at least all 5 directors, why our accounting manager walked out the night before the budget session?
That's, you know what,
To have
that is not in this meeting right now. That's a.
Well, it should be, because it's
That
an
would be
awfully big
personnel.
pink elephant
Excuse
sitting
me.
over in the corner. And
Does
I'm
anybody have
offended as a
mute button?
director
Please
that
mute
I'm
this
supposed to
man.
sit here and keep
Please
quiet over
interrupt the
something.
meeting. Please mute him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to the next slide with non-operating revenue and expenses. These are basically year-to-year revenue that we collect. For example, the front footage fees. That is an estimated number of connections from customers to the system. Additionally, property taxes, there's not a large difference in here. And then investment income net, you see that 2021 was larger than 2022 budgeted, difference of 673,000. Primarily, as you know, we are investing in a lot of the bonds that are primarily paper funds. And so part of the process that we are required as accountants is to show, if we were to cash those bonds today, what would it show on our statements? And it would be a loss of 673,000. However, we plan to keep them on maturity until maturity, and that is why prior year you saw a larger increase in revenue than you did in the current year budgeted. And finally, the last large item in here is grants. Grants are primarily the 7.3 million are carried forward from 2021. And these are, the majority are 99% is for the wastewater treatment plant, which obviously is not, we have not expensed too much of those funds to request reimbursement. And now we're going to go into the details for the capital projects. We wanted to do an update for the board on the large current approved and budgeted projects from 2021. And these are the majority of them. And don't forget that these are transient costs. This is budgeted. It is not what it is. These are not expenses. We have not spent $28 million for the treatment plant or the 6.2 for area M2. This is what has been budgeted and it's expected to cost for the district when it's all said and done. But those are the majority of what's already been approved. And on the next slide, I will show you the ones that are being requested for 2022. And here you see there's $2.3 million that is being requested. There's nothing in particular here that is of major interest, unless there's any specific questions by the board. These are pretty straightforward and they are in line to help us complete the projects that we have in other areas, like the ponds, like the sewer plant, well 42. A lot of these items are required to continue with daily operations.
Hey, just a second, Arturo. Every time you go, it looks like I'm going to have to ask now if each board member wants to, or I can see you all right now. So if anybody has a question, just raise your finger, please, and I will try to see you to call on you. Thank you, Arturo. Go ahead. I don't see any fingers up right now.
So that brings us to the summary of the 2022 budget. To recap, there's operating revenues of $19.9 million, operating expenses of $18.7 million. Net operating income to the district is $1.4 million, with an additional $9.6 million in non-operating revenue, primarily for those grants. In ongoing capital budget, these two $89 million and $3 million have already been approved by the board. Of those, $2 million are expected to close in this year, and the new request is $2.4 million for an ongoing 2022 budget of $92.9 million.
The thing you should note with that is that the 89 and the 2 million add up to be almost 92 million. So our capital budget is fairly, consistent.
And at this point, I will answer any additional questions.
Okay, thank you, Arturo. Good report. Okay, I see all four of you, so anybody have any questions for Arturo? You're on, okay, I don't see any, so I will send that back to you, Arden, I guess.
All right. Then we go, the one thing that I think right now we want to mention, do you have anything else you want to say, Arturo? I'll assume no. Can you hear me?
Sorry, having issues with my mouse. I don't have any additional items to report. We are here to work for the district, and that's all we can do at this time. If there is any issues or concerns, we can go over them through the general manager to provide additional information if you see fit from the report that you received with the agenda and the presentation from today.
You will also see in that report that you got that the 3 positions that we are requesting that we put in the budget one was for an engineering manager, which we are embarking on a very large wastewater treatment plant and interceptor and collection system program. And we will continue to need that and other construction projects. So I'm asking for a engineering manager to help us out in that area. And also we will have to start to look at processing the funding and the grants for those, as well as the change orders and in a project that's larger than anything we've ever embarked on. So we also are requesting an engineering administrative person.
So
and
Arden, this is item number 1, and it's you have a chart. The proposed classification, is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Just to let the board know, because they have a copy of it in the packet.
Yeah, proposed classification in case you want to take a look at it.
Okay.
I just want to point it out. And then the only other position would be in information and technology. It's time for us to bring somebody on board. As you know that I contracted for most of that work, but as time goes on, we are looking into the cloud. We've converted to 365. Much of our Teams and Microsoft work is all electronic. We're entering into MuniCode where we're codifying everything. We're looking at technology with regard to even the field services where we process forms and the people in the field can then fill out the form and it automatically and electronically gets moved into the accounting system, and those are all changes. And then most importantly is we need to constantly be aware of the cyber attacks that we see so many of these agencies facing right now, and we're reading about them, especially just recently. So I'm asking for an information technology person. And the other reason for it, to give you some justification, is that I started these information technology committee meetings a couple of times. I won't even tell you how long ago. And we've put them back into place. Brian is leading up that charge right now. But the problem is, when you walk away from it in each meeting, technology involves all of the aspects of the district. And we need a person that can bring those ideas forward on a day-to-day basis. we say, hey, look, we want to review these forms for the field crews, like I just told you. Well, that person would be the one then that would actually put that process in place. And it isn't it just doesn't happen unless we have somebody on the staff to be able to do that. And with that said, I don't know, Danny and Matt, did I leave anything out here that I should bring up that you can think of? That basically gives you a summary of the budget.
So now there's 52 employees, and how much was there on the last compensation or classification plan? I'm sorry.
I'm assuming 49.
Okay,
that
so
correct, Arturo?
you're at 3.
Correct.
Okay.
Arden, to answer your question, I don't have anything to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions if there's anything specific.
Thank you, Danny.
And then the
Brian,
class,
does Brian have anything that he wants to add?
No, Art, you covered everything very well. Both you and Arturo, thank you.
so now on the Mission Springs Water District, on the next page 8, is it? Yeah, page 8 of the packet is the classification matrix. So, right? So, and it gives the salary stuff. So would the class comp study, when that is finished, would that would change this if that's the case, or whatever the case is of that, the outcome of that? Is that correct, Arden?
Yes, this hasn't changed from last time. This is the same as we've always had. We did not change this matrix. I mean, we did earlier, but
okay, I just wanted to bring that.
this is the same one. It hasn't we did add the positions. We show you where we added the
Right.
positions. And that's the reason we
Okay, so this is,
it did not
this
change.
is what we're
saying. Yeah.
If the budget's approved, this will be the classification plan that will be utilized to begin with.
Yeah, and it's the same for the existing employees as it is right now. I think that's a correct statement. So
I think so too. I just wanted to clarify that.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, anybody have any? Yes, Director Duncan.
I have a question. When we were doing our employee negotiations, if you will, earlier this year, President Wright and myself were on that committee. I asked for a total list of benefits to our employees, and I've never received that, but I do see on here that we're up to over $800,000 in costs this year. We didn't have any increase in benefits, but that cost went up by almost $45,000. So I'd still like to see a comprehensive list of employee benefits.
I think we got that. I'm not sure, but I think I remember seeing that, and I've been carrying it around with me. I'll have to.
We did send that out.
But could we send it out again, please?
Yeah, I missed it somehow. I didn't get that.
Yeah,
one.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think I'm the only one that got it. I'm pretty sure I saw it though. But no, we never talked about it again.
We'll get it to you again. But I'm assuming that the 45 difference in employee benefits is for the 3 new employees. Is that correct, Arturo?
That is correct. In addition, Director Duncan, we are going to start providing employees at year end with the W-2, a supplemental letter of all the benefits that they receive from the district to let them know in actuality how much the district pays on their behalf for medical insurance, retirement plan, and everything else that the district pays that a lot of people are just not aware of.
Okay, now that's just for their information, right? That's not a taxable income?
Correct.
Or they're not taxed separately? Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Well, that pink elephant's still sitting over there. Nobody's addressed. I'd like to schedule a special meeting to have a personnel discussion in executive session with the 5 members of this board and no staff present.
Never heard of that one before. Anyway, okay, we'll move on. So Arden, I'll turn it back over to you.
We can't discuss, personnel issues.
No.
And
I just asked you to have a private meeting, a personnel session between the 5 board members. Okay? I have zero confidence in this budget or this general manager, just to be on the record.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for your comments. So please control yourself.
Okay, any other questions? That for us and the
I
staff?
don't see any, Arden. So general manager's comments, we'll just move on.
No, other than I am, like I said, going to be back with my son he's doing his residency at the University of Iowa, so I have to go back and take care of some issues back there and move him. So I will be gone Thursday and Friday and probably Monday and Tuesday of next week. But you and I are going to meet.
You turn in your resignation.
Excuse me, would somebody, I can't seem to be able to mute him, but if he's going to keep bopping in like that, I think we need to mute him.
Well, unrelated. But you can get a hold of me if you need to get a hold of me, and you and I will visit. I think we set up the meeting for Friday morning, Nancy, to go over the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda review, yes.
Okay, and I think that's all I've got.
Okay. Director's comments. Director Grasha.
I don't know if I'm muted or not.
You're not.
I've made my feelings clear on this, and it's mind-boggling that we continue down this path as though nothing just happened.
Well, it's mind-boggling from what just happened. Okay, Russ, Vice President Martin, any comments?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Arturo for taking over this process, and you did an outstanding job today for explaining the budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ditto on that one, Arturo. Great job. And even we could pinch open the slides so we didn't need our magnifying glasses. Director Sewell, did you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'll echo those same comments. Thank you, Arturo, and all the staff for putting this together. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, well, good job, everybody. So this will be on our agenda for our board meeting, and we'll be voting on it at the Monday regular meeting. Correct, Arden?
That is correct.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions in the meantime, you can either give Arden a call, or is it okay to say call Arturo? Arturo?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So if any of the directors have anything else to say about it and they need some questions answered, you can follow that route before the study session, or before the board meeting, or maybe ask at the study session too, I suppose. So nothing else.
Anything with you. Yes. Thanks, Nancy.
Okay. So nothing else, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Have a good one.